say it's Super C, it is Super C. It's a great formula.
And by taking Super C22, then what are some of the things that you'll experience?
Well, the first thing you're going to experience is energy. And along with that comes mental clarity, less pain, better vital signs like blood pressure starts to go down. You'll see that your cholesterol is improving. Your HDL, the good cholesterol, goes up. Triglycerides go down. The inflammatory markers in your blood start to go down. You know, Chris, we're talking about health here.
Right. Well, unfortunately, Dr. Pincus, we are about out of time here. Anything else you want to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, Chris, first of all, I want to thank you again for having me on your show.
It's always great fun, especially when it's a surprise like this.
And for those of you listening, I want to let you know that I really believe there's no accidents. I think we're all here together for a reason. And I want to let you know that health is a two-way partnership. Even with my patients, I'm there to help as much as I can. Now, with my Super C22, I've done the work, but you have to take the next step. So I urge you to call in, order my formula, get on it, give it to your family, and see for yourself how it works for you.
Okay, folks, this is your last chance. If you want to get a free book about vitamin C and try Dr. Pincus's Super C22 formula, there's a special toll-free number for you to call. It's 1-800-669-9194. Now, as we've been talking about here, Super C22 is packed with 22 pure forms of vitamin C that your body desperately needs for optimal health. And by getting the right amount of vitamin C in the right form into your body, you're going to live longer, you're going to have increased energy and less pain. And remember, Dr. Pincus has put together a very special offer that's only available to you listeners. So when you do call, please be sure to mention this program.
Yeah, that's fine. So we're recording with both cameras.
Now we're up here. You want this one ready now?
Well, I would, yeah. Oh, you know what? No. As a matter of fact, I don't. And the reason why is we don't go on for another 5 minutes.
So I'll do it right.
Yeah.
This book reveals why vitamin C is absolutely
Right here, hard.
You're going to learn how vitamin C blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. Chapter 6 covers vitamin C and cancer. You're going to learn how to slow down the aging process, have better skin, have better joints, vision, how vitamin C is essential.
You like Augie?
For allergies, for infections.
Were you Chicago?
Having better mood.
No,
And of course,
Cook County.
increasing your energy
County
levels.
deputy.
It's all in this very
In Payless I was.
So you get the free
Oh, you were
book,
Payless cop?
Yeah.
Oh, Payless Park.
with an extra free
Do they have,
supply, and you get Dr.
It's a
Pincus's
pretty
audio
safe
CD.
place, isn't it?
The number to call
Yeah,
is
it was.
1-800-669-9194.
Well, isn't it still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still had, I mean, domestics.
No, oh, yeah. Well, it was a little county.
Absolutely risk
Right.
free.
That area of town. Although, you know, we used to do security for up on the hill, you know, the hill, and
Yeah.
because it's unincorporated, most of it. So we used to do security for like the Shiloh Baptist Fest and stuff. They're really nice people, but the gangs up there.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I was teaching, I had 2 kids early in my career that were gangster disciples shot and killed.
Where did you teach?
I taught behavior disorder students.
Where?
Pace High School. Kids from Thornton and Thornridge used to come over, and I taught in Joliet my last 5 years.
You did?
Yes.
Central?
Junior high. Washington Junior High.
Yeah.
I had one of my students 2 years ago shot and killed. I went to the wake. Sad.
You know, I've tried for a long time to get a gangbanger to come on the show. You know Paul McKinley?
I think I do. I think he spoke.
He was yes, probably.
He
yes.
spoke at Gatto's one night.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah, I was there. Yeah,
Paul was a hardcore gangbanger. He had a hard time.
right. That's what
And
he
he came
said.
out a Republican, which is not common.
Yeah,
Still lives back in the hood,
yeah.
but he's trying to get kids out. And he found a kid who said he'd be on the show. And then he told him Elk Grove Village.
Yeah.
And the kid had never even heard of it. The kid's never been more than 6 blocks from his house in his life. How do you break that cycle? You know?
We give them a ticket, and then they've got to go all the way to 26 in Cali.
That's right.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
You got to break the ice.
Well, and Paul is the guy who says, you know, people won't want to hear this, but the fact is there's a whole lot of people that you just got to lock them up and never let them out again. That's the only way you're going to change it.
Well, I believe it all starts with education. You know,
It also helps to have two parents. Well, everybody has two
there's
parents.
a lot of children being born out of wedlock,
Yeah.
and 50% of gang members come from fatherless families. So
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
there's the first step.
What are we cheering?
Then my keyboard's working.
That I wrote
We
a
gotta hurry.
memo
Keyboard
and
that
something
works?
happened. It probably has nothing to do whatsoever with my memo. It was probably noticed after somebody came in and freaked out.
What
the
about
Murray show.
pecking? Are we going to be able to peck someday?
No.
Good.
You're asking too much. You were able to peck once in your life. It is better to have pecked than lost.
Your
than never to have pecked
expectations
at
are
all.
up here. You
I'm
need
a
to
big
have
pecker guy.
You need to
You know
bring
what I'm
we know.
saying?
We know
Yeah,
you're
I think
a pecker.
Dave. I think big pecker.
It's time for the ears.
I've been saying for years. I've been saying for years that you're a pecker.
No, it's just- Okay, fine.
You know, it's just like in volleyball. If somebody sets it up, you gotta spike
Yeah,
it.
it's true.
Right.
You're right.
It's your
At
responsibility.
Second City, it's right. I get it.
You left them.
You're
He
ready
left
to go
himself
with these,
open.
right?
It's your responsibility. You have to do
You
it.
got to take it.
You have to.
It's like it is like volleyball.
You're letting the
set
team.
up.
You're letting the team down if you don't
That's
do
true.
it.
Somebody sets you up, you got to take the shot.
You gotta take the shot.
And of course, I personally
And
never
I apologize. I took the shot at you when we were having dinner with Nick Stella the other night, and I felt bad about it. But you set it up, so I had to
Well,
spike
Jesus.
it.
You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
And taking a look at traffic, westbound I-80 past Central has 2 left lanes blocked off with cleanup and investigation of an earlier rollover crash. Traffic is solid from Pulaski. Also, you have a caper delay on eastbound I-80 Bridgeland before Central. Heading onto the expressways, the Edens and the Kennedy both delay free, though the express lanes on the Kennedy are closed for maintenance till 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Eisenhower inbound has roadwork, reducing the exit ramp to the outbound Dan Ryan to a single lane. It backs traffic on the inbound night from Racine. Thorndale to the post office, a half-hour trip, 29 minutes back out. Stevenson inbound moving well. Outbound slows down Pulaski through Cicero. Out to the Tri-State, 26 minutes. Both sides of the Dan Ryan, Lakeshore Drive, and the Illinois Tollway system in good shape. AM560 weather tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 45 degrees. Currently it's 49. Your next update in 15 minutes on AM560. The Answer.
If you love delicious Indian food, then you must experience Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine in Schaumburg. For over 18 years, Gaylord has served an extensive lunch and dinner menu of fine Indian cuisine. Signature dishes include tandoori jinga jumbo prawns, chicken tikka masala, or the tangy and hot southern Indian specialty lamb vindaloo. All dishes are prepared using only quality fresh ingredients. Even the elaborate $12.95 lunch buffet is cooked that morning. Manager Darren Diabrio invites you to come early when they open at 11:30 weekdays and noon on weekends to see and smell the freshness for yourself. It's highly recommended you skip breakfast and save your appetite for lunch. And Gaylord can accommodate business meetings or events for up to 60 people. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is on Mall Drive, just south of Woodfield Mall. Call 847-619-3300 or visit GaylordIL.com. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine in Schaumburg is the Mercedes of fine Indian dining. 847-619-3300.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have 2 words for you. Predator's rights.
You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen's guest will be August O'Neill Deuser, the Republican candidate for the 1st Congressional District. They'll be talking about balancing the budget, the problem with public education, fixing Social Security, and what's the cure for U.S. healthcare. And you won't want to miss tonight's segment 6, how we can help our neglected veterans. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600 or go to Facebook and like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
Americans are used to being creative, self-reliant, and the world's force for good. Liberalism denigrates America and seeks to make all citizens equally impotent. Maybe, just maybe, John Q. Public is finally getting fed up with liberalism. Fed up with a lawless, wanton disregard of constitutional rights, the imposition of big government in every aspect of our lives, from raising our children to our healthcare choices, the marginalization of the Judeo-Christian ethos upon which this country was founded, the dumbing down and indoctrination of our young, the encouragement of aberrant social sexual behavior, and the vituperation of anyone who would dare to arm themselves to protect their family from harm. I believe there are several significant signs that John Q. is beginning to rebel against progressivism. How else would you explain the dramatic political success of Donald Trump, for instance? Trump is beholden to no one, and that scares the snot out of liberals, and for that matter, mainstream Republicans, truth be told. In another time, a time not marred by a socialist imperialistic president, Donald Trump wouldn't be given the time of day in the political arena. But that was then, and this is now. We do have a socialist, imperialistic president, and I think John Q. is fed up enough that he wants the guy that rails against the same things that bug John Q. about our country today. Donald Trump may be crass and lack presidential bearing, but you're never going to see him bow to some Middle Eastern potentate or cower in fear over offending militant Muslims and taking the war to ISIS. And that's just fine with a significantly growing number of Americans today. Another sign is an increasing number of average men and women are practicing civil disobedience. At least that's what liberals call it when they do it. When a conservative does it, well, it's called breaking the law. Bakers won't bake wedding cakes for gay marriages. Ranchers are grazing cattle on federal land that morally, and in many cases, historically, belongs to the state in which it's located. School boards are thumbing their nose at the federal requirement to let transgendered boys use the girls' locker room. Employers are installing automation rather than pay $15 an hour to unskilled workers. And finally, individual states are beginning to pass legislation designed to stop the federal government from imposing unwanted and often unconstitutional laws, such as federally mandated gun control. Most recently, the Arizona House passed a bill to prohibit the state from using personnel or resources to enforce any new federal gun control measures. The legislation would prohibit any state or local agency and their employees from knowingly and willingly participating in any way in the enforcement of any future federal act, law, order, rule, or regulation issued regarding a personal firearm, a firearm accessory, or ammunition, quote, that infringes the right to keep and bear arms guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, or that impairs that right in violation of Article 2, Section 26 of the Arizona Constitution, unquote. The bill would also ban the use of state assets or money in the enforcement of future federal gun laws. It further stipulates that any local government found to have assisted in the enforcement of such federal gun laws in violation of the act would lose all of its state funding the following year, and state and local employers would face criminal penalties for knowingly violating the law. The Arizona Senate also passed a bill in support of that effort, and Mississippi recently passed a somewhat similar bill that would bar state enforcement of some future executive orders or federal agency rules relating to gun control. In fact, there are at least 10 states that have passed such laws or have attempted to pass them. Maybe, just maybe, John Q. Public is finally getting fed up with liberalism. And Gretchen, that is my rant for the week.
We also have a new constitutional carry state. I'm sure you saw that.
We do.
West Virginia.
That's right. Just and that was an override on the governor.
They
the governor's veto. Yeah. Give us a call, 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Our guest this evening is August O'Neill Deuser. He has a master's degree in education from Lewis University. He's a graduate of the University of Illinois and is both pro-life and definitely pro-Second Amendment. August is running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District and is endorsed by the Republican Party and the Illinois Right to Life Federation. What do you think about, is John Q. getting fed up with the government?
I think so. I think you can see people are voting for Donald Trump because they're tired of the everyday politicians making promises and delivering on nothing. I mean, we're in debt at both the federal and state level.
Yeah, people are just coming out of the woodwork now. The normal everyday people. I'm not talking about militant people, like the couple about the wedding cake for the gay couple. They serve those people for years. Yeah. They just didn't want to do the wedding cake thing. Mm-hmm. And look, the government jumped in. They basically put them out of business. Yeah. Is that something that can end? Is that something that can be changed?
I'm not so sure about that. But before I go any further, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show.
Oh, happy to have you.
And I want to thank some people, my family. We were in the Manhattan Day Irish parade yesterday.
Oh, it was the Irish parade.
Oh, and we had our derbies on. We were having a good time.
Well, like that's a joke. No, never mind. We won't do the joke.
Passing out candy to the kids. I want to thank Ed Ronkowski, the Will County chairman, who's been one of my biggest supporters.
Good friend.
Aaron Delmar, who's the Cook County GOP. Sean Morrison is the Palos Township committeeman. My good friend Byron Zawoski, who's been a supporter to me for this whole thing. And before I forget, Friday I'm having a fundraiser at Bourbon Street, March 11th from 6 to 10. Everybody's welcome. I'd appreciate it if everybody would come.
Even us, we're welcome.
You are welcome.
Oh, we're going to.
But
the,
you're going
cruise.
to the.
You're
going to the highfalutin.
We're going to the.
We're going to cruise.
Yeah, you're going to the fancy.
We're having. I'm going to tell people we're having dinner with Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a cop. I mean,
yes.
This culture that we are in now.
Yes.
And we, you're old enough to remember back in the.
I'm not 60s. As old as you though.
As soon as we break the commercial, I want them out. Okay, out. No, but you remember back in the 70s, late 60s and 70s, this kind of thing was going on then. Yeah. They hated cops. They were, but this is they're shooting cops. They used to throw stuff at cops.
Now they're ambushing.
Yeah,
them.
Now they're ambushing them.
Well,
how long were you?
I was on a job for 3 years. I was a 3rd generation policeman. My grandfather and father were Chicago policemen. And as you know, because you were a police officer, it's getting progressively worse on the street and more dangerous on a daily basis. And I think what aggravates me the most is that the media only portrays if an officer makes a mistake. They don't talk about all the good things that the policemen do on a daily basis. And I would encourage people to go to FBI.gov. The statistics are on there. Policemen killed and assaulted in action, and they only have the 2014 Unified Crime Reports, but in 2014, 51 law enforcement officers died from injury in the line of duty.
Well, we just had that woman on her first day.
Yeah.
The rookie first day got killed.
She was still in field training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand. I mean, they walk up to cop from shooting in the back of the head at a gas station. All this stuff is it's out of control. And this administration has fostered that. They've made it okay to do that kind of thing.
Well, I think when President Obama went down in regard to the the one shooting, he said he was going down to make sure that that family was going to get justice.
Brown, wasn't that Brown?
I think it was the Brown young man. But at the federal government did an investigation and found that it was a justifiable shooting. So where's the justice for the police officer?
No, I absolutely agree. The cops are coming on the short end of the stick.
Yeah, he had to quit his job.
We're gonna we have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about balancing the budget. When you go to Congress, you're going to balance the budget for us, right?
Right.
You're listening to On Target Radio, and this is AM560 The Answer.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Taking a look at traffic on.
He took about 3 of it.
I had to get that in there, though, Dave. Yeah. Oh, it's all right. I don't care. No problem. I don't care. I got to thank the
It had
beach.
4 minutes while you're not looking.
What?
We skipped all the clocks that had 4 minutes while you weren't looking.
It's all right. It's authority, by the way.
Authority.
It's like my authority.
Respect my authority.
Yeah.
Why is it everything that it involves something
You're
going in
coming in,
coming out of my ass?
Yes, that's right. You know what? See, all my conservative friends hated that show. I think it's one of the funniest shows.
It's the best satirical show on earth.
And you know what? They
Every 3
skewered
minutes
both
they're making
sides.
funny. Yes.
The send-off they did on Barbara Streisand was every dime.
Did you ever see the Scientology episode?
Yes, you bet I have. I saw every episode.
20
You know
minutes.
what?
20 minutes of random celebrities trying to convince Tom Cruise to come out
To
of the
come out of
closet.
it.
A literal closet with a closed door.
I watched every episode until they decided they were going to be movie stars. They started doing reruns.
Right.
And I got pissed off. I just, they went off and did their own thing, and they left all of us hanging. And that was the last time.
You know how they make that show, right?
It's
They write it.
whatever you call
They start
it.
writing it Wednesday. Okay. It goes on the air the next Wednesday.
Yeah.
They write it, voice it, animate it, produce it, and turn it out in less than a week. Every episode.
There's no question that they're working their asses off.
No, they are the best at what they do.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when they started, they were the worst at what they did. It was little pieces of cardboard going like
I
this
remember
across
they were
the
cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the worst thing ever.
But it was.
Now they are literally the
It was
cutting edge.
funny though because it was. Yeah. But they did. And the whole Kenny thing was just. I love Kenny. I love Kenny. Every freaking episode. Oh my God! They killed Kenny.
Well, the best thing was guessing what he was saying because Kenny was foul mouthed.
You want to go, Kenny? I love the show. I truly did.
We're children.
Did you ever watch that show?
We're 14 years
I
old.
think it was a great show.
We just assumed
And,
that everyone
and
else
we're
was 14 years
streaming
old.
liberals, but they skewered liberals just as much as they did conservatives.
We'll turn them into 14-year-olds.
So I like that show. I can't unpin this thing.
Oh God, he's using
Custom rifles made in America.
Is it scary?
Yes, it is. Hide your pets. Hide your pets and find the circuit breakers.
I'm betting
David
that
is
I'm
mastering
signed
the
in
technology.
on the other side. It's all right, Dave. No, it's not really. That's the problem.
30 seconds.
Call 847-277-7260. Visit dsarms.com. Ladies, are the
Chemicals in your home's water stripping the life from your hair? Men, do you have that one pesky toilet that always gives you problems? Listen to the Heatwave Plumbing Radio Show this Saturday for answers to all your plumbing questions. Need plumbing help right now? Be the very first person to go to radioplumbingdeals.com, fill out the radio discount request form, click submit, and get $129 worth of service for $39.95. That's radioplumbingdeals.com.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Our guest this evening is Augie Deuser. Augie's running in the the primary for the 1st Congressional District. And I want to talk a little bit about the budget. It's a touchy thing in Illinois. It's a touchy thing at the federal level. Budgets are touchy things.
Yeah.
we are so far out of control in this country.
Yeah.
What would you do? How would you do anything?
Well, first of all, you can check out my website at www.deuser.us. And let me just read this little bit of information that I've gotten off the internet from the U.S. Federal Budget.hotmail. In 2010, the federal government spent $3.5 trillion. Mandatory spending includes Social Security, $700 billion, Medicare, $500 billion, Medicaid, $273 billion. The defense budget was $700 billion, and the non-defense discretionary budget was $660 billion. Ironically, the federal government plans to take in $3.5 trillion for the fiscal year 2016. Most of the taxes are paid by us through income tax or payroll taxes. Income taxes contribute 50%, and Social Security and Medicare are 30% of the budget. Corporate taxes are 13%. I think that corporations should pay a little more than that. Social Security is largest at $938 billion, and Social Security's costs are covered 100% by payroll taxes. The Board of Fund estimates that the surplus will run out by 2036. And that the fund will only be able to pay 77% of the cost. Our government plans to spend $7.5 trillion in 2016. The budget deficit is estimated to be $74 billion. Our U.S. deficit is at $18 trillion and rising. Our fastest growing mandatory payment is on the national debt. I believe, which none of the politicians say, is that some of the monies are already go towards Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, but the non-discretionary funding is what they vote on to spend money. That needs to be cut in half. And it's about $800 billion that needs to be cut in half.
See, you know what? Here's the thing. The people who vote on this are entrenched politicians.
Right.
And they vote on that stuff because they're doing favors for people that pay for their candidacy.
Right. And I'll give you a prime example. There's a bill, $70 million right now, that Madigan and the Democrats are trying to pass for, I believe, higher education, and Rauner is vetoing it. Where is the $70 million coming from? There's no money. You can't, the teachers aren't getting paid. They tried to get Senate Bill 1 through. Madigan, the Democrats, Hastings, they all voted for Senate Bill 1 to try to steal the teacher's pension and not fund education. Rauner is the guy who passed the bill to use funding through K-8 education.
Sure. Just yesterday, Friday, I'm sorry, this is Sunday. God. Friday, the Republicans, because they're going on recess, spring recess, and the Republicans go, whoa. And this is procedurally correct. This by the Democrat rules, they could do this. They said, we want an up or down vote. We're staying. We're not going home until we work out a budget. And Madigan said they were out of order, and they walked. They took off for a month. So they keep going. Rauner's the fault. The fault is they won't face up to it.
Right.
That's the problem.
They won't deal. They won't come to the table.
Exactly.
You have to cut the budget. That's the bottom line. You have to cut the budget. You can't spend money that you do not have.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
Well, and it was Margaret Thatcher and that beautifully said, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of the other guy's money.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at how many people are leaving this state every year.
Well, you know, when I go out and talk to people and I get 700 plus signatures, a lot of people are leaving and going to Indiana because they're fed up. They're really fed up.
They are. And for businesses, it's getting to the point where there's no reason to be in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
You're listening to On Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. It is surprisingly quiet this evening. Not in here, but on the phone line. Our guest this evening is Augie Deuser, and he's running in the primary for the 1st Congressional District. So you go to Washington.
Yeah.
And the problem is you're one guy.
Right.
I mean, how do you even cope with that? Well, like the issue of the budget. How do you cope
the whole culture of politics has to change. It has to change. And I think we're seeing that in people who are starting to get elected, that people are finally realizing that the people who have been in office for years, they keep giving them lip service and they're not doing anything to help them. They're not cutting the budget. They just keep spending money we don't have. Here, I'll give you an example. Here's the Illinois education budget. Since fiscal year 2009, the Illinois General Fund allocated for to 12 education has been cut by more than $861 million, or almost 12%, even though public school enrollment levels have remained at a constant 2 million pupils. Average spending per pupil has been cut by 4.7, and we are last in funding for education, but yet they're trying to pass a $70 million bill for higher education, and who knows what is laid in that bill like Rauner. He said,
how much of it will ever go to education?
Just like the lottery. I mean, 2% of the lottery maybe goes to education, and that's it.
Yeah. I think it really goes back to this entrenched thing. Ronkowski gave me a book probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. You remember the title of it? But it was about term limits.
Okay.
And I never believed in term limits till I read that book. And now I definitely believe in it, because the entrenchment, you start out, you're in debate. If you get elected, you'll be like in the sub basement next to the elevator shaft.
Right.
But as you are there longer and longer, you're moving up and you're getting better committees and so on. Well, what happens is they stroke you. The higher up you go, the more they stroke you, the more vested your interest is. These guys are there. How long is what's his name?
Bobby Rush.
Dirty Harry, for instance, in the Senate. He's been there forever. I think he was born there.
Yeah, I don't know, 35 years.
You got it, and you have a thought about how long people should be in Congress.
I'm for 2 terms and you're done. And I also believe that right now I think congressmen get paid $175,000 a year. I think the max should be $100,000, and you get a pension of $50,000. And only if you serve 4 years, then you only get a pension for 4 years. If you serve 8 years, you only get a pension for 8 years, not a lifetime pension. I mean, you talk about a drain on our economy. It's just ridiculous.
Congress is duplicitous because they pass laws that they then immediately exempt themselves from.
Exactly.
They give themselves the best perks when they're cutting it from everybody else's.
If we could, and if we had Republican control of both houses and the White House, they could pass a law that says Congress can't exempt themselves.
They could. Anybody holding their breath on that one?
No, but I'm just saying.
I mean, we elected in the last election Republicans who said, we're going to go there. We're going to defund Obamacare. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Shoot, you couldn't tell. Harry Reid could still have been in charge of the Senate for the last 2 years.
Right. Yeah. We worked our butts off to get control of the Senate, and we've gotten hardly anything out of it.
And people want to know why Donald Trump is popular, because he's not one of them. That's why.
Yeah. He's not an insider.
Yeah, it could be a golden retriever running. It'd win.
Well, that would probably be even better.
Well, it probably would be. They're not offensive.
They're cute. Yeah.
Donald's not exactly cute, but anyway. So
George has better hair.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's true. That is true. They are there. We're going to have to take a break here in a second, but we want to talk about education, because here's the scariest part of all of this. As much as I dislike Barack Obama, he scares me far less than the fact that he got reelected. There's something about the fact that people after the first term,
right.
I can understand how people who don't like conservatives would vote for him the first time, because he's good at delivering his message.
Yeah.
He's very good at that. But they voted for him the second time. That's scary.
Well, and I'm not 100% sure how much of that is low info voters and how much of that is really fraud.
Oh, well, it's probably a healthy combination of both.
Well, right. I think a large portion of that is actually fraud, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe his second term was right. The election day was right after Hurricane Sandy.
I think so.
In New York State, for one, and probably other places too, they said people can vote at any
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's a recipe for fraud right there.
Well, it certainly wouldn't happen in Illinois. All right, we're going to have to take a break. When we come back, though, we do want to talk about education a little bit with Augie, because I think that's a real big deal, and he does too. So we'll be back with that and a whole lot more. You're listening to On-Target Radio, and this is AM560, The Answer.
University of Portland has launched a Speak Up webpage that encourages students to report incidents of discomfort to its public safety department.
Five-minute break. That's right. It's the piss and shit break.
That's what?
Vulgar.
Did you say something vulgar?
Yeah.
George?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
No, and that the very thought would put me off my next 8 meetings. Okay.
Oh, well, hey, you know how much money is made in weight loss? It's a booming industry. Yeah. Walk into the room and be like, eh? And women just barf. And then they hand me money, and then I walk. Yes. Much less effort than my previous career.
Do you want to tell him or should I?
He didn't want to run again. He told me after 1976 when he lost Ford in the 76 convention.
Nah.
She was the one who felt
I've been just potting it down when it was an issue.
I was going to ask you, by the
Because I
way.
can hear it the whole time.
You do plumbing?
Some stuff, yeah.
That wasn't the answer I was hoping.
I'm not digging up your backyard, replacing the sewer line.
Well, you can't do that.
I can't do heavy duty stuff, but
You might hit the wrong spot. No.
But that's why you call Julie, and she comes out with her flags and her paint.
Nothing about it. The faucet downstairs, this is the easy part. Faucet downstairs is leaking. I've got it in a position where it doesn't, but it'll leak. So it's probably washed.
Leaking or dripping out of the.
No,
the
it's,
spigot.
I don't know.
It's coming out where the water should come out, not leaking around
right.
the bay. Okay.
That I would be fine with. The problem is it's rusted.
Oh, I see. So it's a matter of getting the.
That's the part I need. Somebody knows what they're doing.
My dad loves it. Yeah. Well, he actually likes the stuff. He actually likes pipes better, but he does.
I do too, depending on what we're talking about.
He does faucets too.
Oh,
I am a little nervous by that.
See, there's your hitters, bowls, gravity tubes. Oh, sorry, wrong.
It's going to need. They're rusted.
He probably
so I
I never
can't
go from a rusty bowl.
He probably
can't
likes
turn the
that
water
too,
off.
but I don't know.
I can't turn the water off.
Okay.
Is that something you can do?
Yeah.
All right. So when you're, I just don't use it very often, so it's not like
Waiting on Jim.
I'm in a hurry. But because I know you're busy now, right? You said you had a bunch of work.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I had one new customer basically who hasn't had a maintenance guy in 3 years. So I'm.
So if
I've already knocked out 4 of maybe Friday, definitely.
Oh, that's it.
Earlier Sunday. Yeah, I mean, I could work it. It's not something that's gonna take.
Give me a call when you.
When I say I'm busy, that means I have work each day. It doesn't necessarily mean the work is all day. And I always have to leave time open because somebody might have a faucet explode or a furnace go out or something. So yeah, I can do it.
Well, I would do it myself, but when I was in college, I came home and one of the faucets in my parents' house was dripping, and they were going to call a plumber, but it was Christmas,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
So you
I said,
double time.
I'll do it. And my father goes, no, the plumber will come. I go, Dad, I'll do it.
The good news is, if you screw yourself up, there's a doctor in the house.
Well, yeah. The good news is the water actually sprayed across the bathroom into the tub.
Oh, so you didn't shut the water off?
Well, that was a minor technicality. So there was just. It looked like a little like Niagara
There's some
Falls.
things you didn't think of as
Apparently
part
not.
of this.
Apparently not. Yeah. So now we had an emergency where we couldn't stop it from.
Yeah.
But it was hitting the tub, and so he paid probably $800,000 to get a plumber to come out on Thanksgiving or Christmas, whichever holiday it was. That legend lives in my family till both of my parents were dead. Yeah.
Now it lives on in your radio family. Because I'm going to retell that
I
story.
forgot they're listening. It's just a joke.
You really did? It didn't really happen. I'm just lying. I mean, damn.
I'm a journalist. I don't lie. I selectively choose the truth. Oh, that's like being an expert witness, isn't it?
Here's some spins. What he did was he pre-diagnosed the plumbing issue for his parents before the plumber got out there. So that was very helpful.
That's what I thought.
There's your journalistic spin.
Asked to name the top 5 items every Illinois family needs to have in their homes: emergency disaster kit, water,
We're having fun now.
a weather radio.
I know I am.
It does not get better than this, which is really depressing if you think about
Best day ever.
Thanks, Dave. Now I got to go jump off the parking garage.
it. Do it when the show's over.
Well, I have to listen to the rest of the show so I can be completely committed to my future action.
That's it. That works. If we can help, a little push.
Where does he live?
Cardboard box under the overpass at 55.
Excuse me. It's a bridge.
It's a bridge. Are you in my district? Are you a voter?
I'm not in your district, but I am a voter. Stand by. What do you think?
5. You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. The phones are silent. Yeah.
We're not sure they're working, in fact.
George is doing the flatline thing here. I don't know what it is. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Somebody light the phone up. It's embarrassing.
We need to get out the defibrillator and
just charge the phone up. Call your mother on your cell phone. Tell her to call. Disguise her voice. Our guest this evening is Augie Deuser, and Augie is running for office. Actually, he's running in the primary, but for the 1st Congressional District. Wants to go to the big house in Washington.
I was going to say there's one in Crest Hill, but I don't think that's where he wants to go.
No. I was going to say nobody wants to go to Crest Hill, but the phones will light up.
Oh.
So we're not going to say that. But seriously, I think you made a comment, and I think it's really a valid comment. We were talking about it. What scares me is that people reelected Barack Obama. Education, our educational system. I taught half a year of elementary. I taught a year of high school. I subbed high school 4 years. And I was a professor for years. It scares me what's happened in education. It's like indoctrination.
Yeah, it is scary. I think other than needing to fix our educational system, I think education is the key for students to get out of poverty and have an opportunity. And as I read, Illinois is last in spending for education. So that's not helping at all. And I think this is the really thing that I find ironic. Obama was a South Side activist and becomes our president. Romney's his right-hand man, and he runs and wins mayor. Bobby Rush has been on the South Side for 25 years. Now, he was complaining that Romney shut down 50 schools. Now, wouldn't it make sense to say we need to get federal funding and build 2 new schools in the Black community, 2 on the South Side, to help children get out of poverty? I mean, where's the funding from the federal government, from Obama, who was South Side activist, to help the children get out of poverty? I don't get it.
Here's the thing about it, though, that bothers me. When I was a university dean in the suburbs, I would go during the academic year. I would go typically to 1, sometimes 2 inner city schools during the academic year. And it was a private university. They had endowment. And I would say to like juniors, I would say, you know what? All you have to do is graduate from high school. We can give you a college degree. Okay, they didn't care.
Well, I think corporate has to get involved with the educational process, like the McDonald's Corporation, and start the kids out when they're very young and follow them through high school. And I think what's happened in a lot of the high schools is a lot of the tech programs are gone, which the kids really need, because everybody's not going to be a lawyer and everybody's not going to be a doctor. So you have to have opportunities for everyone to be educated in some manner, whether it's a skill or what have you.
Yeah, actually, the vocations are much more in demand right now than people with bachelor's degrees.
Right.
So yeah, it seems like that would be a good plan.
We have an interesting call from Ike and Joliet. Ike, how are you doing this evening?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
I got a quick question for August.
Go ahead.
Hi, August. My name is Mike.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, not Ike. My name is Mike. I was wondering if you guys, if I'm a blue collar guy here working out of Joliet. What can you do for me with job security out here?
That's a good question.
I'm a blue collar guy too, and I was a union rep as a teacher. What are you working as a blue collar guy? What are you doing?
I'm working an hourly job at a warehouse. You know, it's just a basic regular job. I'm trying the best I can to try to support me and myself, but it's hard to do.
Yeah. You know, I think Donald Trump is right when he's talking about job creation and what we have to do to create jobs. And again, like I said, with education, I think corporations need to get involved with people in all the neighborhoods. I mean, to reach out, to build some new factories. I mean, just like Donald Trump said, there's no incentive for businesses to stay here. So they're leaving our country and they're going, like Carrier, for instance, he says Carrier's going to Mexico. Like Caterpillar. Caterpillar's left and went to Canada. I'm for you bettering yourself, and I also believe that we need to have a decent wage.
Well, Mike's gone. I wanted to ask him if he's working at the intermodal thing. I've never been a union guy. If I've ever heard a place, that's the place where they need a union. But he's gone. So anyway, we'll be back with more on Target Radio after a few messages, and you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
How can you get from here?
By what's the little by Elwood? I mean, massive.
It's the
probably square
I had to let Mike go because we only allow English speakers.
Yeah, what was going on? I'm hearing voices.
It was
I told him to turn his radio off while I screened him, and he did not speak English and therefore didn't listen. I only allow English speakers.
I got that. Okay. Well, I wanted to ask somebody else. Anyway.
So they bring the stuff in on the trains and they take it off of the trucks and vice versa.
So let me tell you the game that they're playing.
Is that the one by the Lincoln?
Because I've never been a union guy.
Intermodal?
Yeah. But listen to this. What they do is they hire people on. They can only work for so long, and then you hire them full time. That's when they fire them. So that these poor guys go there and work their ass off. They get no benefits. They get nothing. And then when it comes time to be hired, they let them go and hire a new badge. Now, that is a place that needs a union.
Well, that's what happens. I was talking to Gretchen. That's what happens without a union. What happens is they can fire you for any reason or fuck you over like they're doing there. I mean,
I agree.
That's brutal.
I agree that that's a place.
It's a necessary evil. I'm not saying it's all good, but
yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, corporations have to get involved. They can't just be worrying about their bottom line of making money and increasing their profit each time.
Yeah.
You got to think about people.
Well, people make the profit. Without people, there is no profit. Okay, so when we come back, we're going into four. There's a commercial here.
Yeah, I hear it.
Healthcare or Social Security?
Healthcare.
All right.
The Social Security is basically the money.
Because you've been a little louder.
My guy.
Here's the commercial. My name is Augustine.
The money's going into the Social Security fund. The problem is 150 billion is going out to SSI supplement.
You know, I never even heard of that until I read your thing.
Chris Christie, he talked about that. Now we could just talk about that for 1 second. He talked about that when he was up there. That's where the depletion of the Social Security is going right now. You see these lawyers on TV, they're saying, call me, we'll get you SSI supplement. When I was teaching, the parents would come in, they want to get their kids a check for a lifetime. And they would want me to sign off on paperwork, and I'd say, hey, your kid should work the rest of their life. I'm not signing any paperwork for you to get you an SSI supplement check. It's abuse.
Heard of that.
Oh, it's abuse. It's abuse.
This message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. I just want to say that we're up to 955 likes. We just got a like just now while we were on the air, so I was super excited about that. We need to get to 1,000. So we just need 45 more likes to get to 1,000.
Yeah, probably Deuser. He's Irish.
Share.
It was some Irish guy.
Yeah, call in the Irishman.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I was going to make a joke. I won't. I'll have.
Don't be picking on my my ancestry.
I'll have the entire Bridgeport area out waiting for me outside. Hey, come here, Guinea. Come here.
Yeah.
I know a guy. So
it's true.
It is true. I know it's true. I grew up in. I understand that. Well, I want to talk a little bit about healthcare, because healthcare is a major issue in this country. Not only Obamacare, but healthcare just in general is a major issue. I think it's totally justifiable to say that there is a segment of the population that needed help.
Yeah.
Obamacare was like taking a sledgehammer to a flea. I mean, it enacted stuff that ends up costing more money. How can we fix it? Can't we?
Well, let me give you this tidbit of information from Illinois Policy Action, which is a watchdog group, political watchdog group. The costs are rising and people are losing access to policies and networks with doctors they trust. They were forced to buy plans through an Illinois exchange and pay 100% more in premiums. People in 45 states saw significant premium rate increases. About 183,000 Illinoisans have already had their plans canceled, and 3.8 million have lost their insurance. More than 3/4 of people covered under Obamacare will be dumped into Illinois' failed Medicare program. In Illinois, 2/3 of physicians are no longer accepting patients due to reimbursement rates. Throwing more people into Medicaid is also bad for the state's fiscal health. And I think basically that's what Obamacare is. Dump people into Medicaid that's not working already and be more of a burden to the state. And those of us in the middle class end up paying for everything. So Medicaid could double by 2030. Obamacare is not the solution. One-size-fit-all approach is driving up premiums. I think private competition will allow prices to be driven down. And let me say this. The state and the federal government is not your mother or your father, and they can't be responsible for paying your bills. I mean, my mother and father told me when I was raising my sister and I, look at, nobody owes you anything in this life. You got to go out and make your way. You got to work. And I understand, what Mike was saying, and I don't know if they have a union out there, but, this is something that, some of the people in the Republican Party are not pro-union, but I'm a pro-union guy. I believe that if you don't have collective bargaining and somebody representing you, they can do whatever they want to you. They can fire you just because you're Irish. So it's a necessary evil. You got to have a union. That's what I believe.
I think this Obamacare deal, I have a Blue Cross Blue Shield supplement. Because I'm on, I'm retired supposedly.
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired, yeah. Like I got run over by a semi. But here's the thing: my Blue Cross Blue Shield just popped up. I just got told in May it's going to increase $50 a month. $50 a month. I mean, out of a $300, it's been $300 and change. It's going to go up to $50 a month. That's for me, that's money, man.
Well, I don't know if it should go up $50, but I think that whether it's a pension system or healthcare, I think we need to contribute more to the funds than we are, even if it's $10 or $20 a month. I mean, as I said again, the state and the federal government, they cannot pay for everything. I mean, it's impossible. It's not going to work. The system is broken at the state and federal level. It's not working. Okay.
Well, one of the things Trump talks about, which has been talked about before, and I certainly agree with, You ought to be able to buy insurance like you buy any other product on the open market. Crossing state line, none of that should matter. I got an insurance policy I'm offering. I compare it to your insurance policy you're offering. I take the best deal. Free market economy.
Right. That's the best way.
And the problem with the Obamacare thing is there's so much hidden tax in it. And it just intrudes on people's lives. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can be fixed, though, to be honest with you.
Anything can be fixed.
Well, like we used to say in the Army, there's no problem so great that the proper application of high explosives can't resolve it. But, I don't know. The problem is once you start giving free stuff to people, how do you turn that off? You'll have rioting in the streets.
Well, right. If you pull it back, then you won't get reelected.
And
that's pretty much, I mean, what you were talking about with term limits earlier, that's pretty much the crux of the problem is once you get in Congress, people are most concerned about getting reelected.
Yeah.
Especially the reps, because they're basically constantly in campaign mode.
Right.
Well, that's true. I had someone tell me the day of an election when they were elected, I said, well, you must feel better now that you've been elected. You can relax. And he goes, I start campaigning tomorrow.
Right.
Well, if we make it 2 terms of 4 years, we'll eliminate some of that. While I was getting my petition signed, we were also getting petitions signed for an Illinois amendment, which is to change the term limits. And that's what we need to do. I mean, that's bottom line.
Yeah. We have to take a break. I wish I could remember the name of that book about term limits, because I firmly believe we should not have them until I read that book. And it changed my entire opinion about that. We're going to be back and wrap it all up. We do have segment 6 coming up. We'll talk about that in the next segment. But we should be back with more On Target Radio. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most
probably. It just depends if she actually does 245. Oh. David, Lombardo, and Gretchen, Fritz. What? Carry you to carry a firearm for personal protection. I heard my name. Holster and ammunition selection.
That's because you're on the radio.
Designed to keep you out of trouble. Deal with home invasion. Yeah. Firearm holster class I'm famous. Are provided. I'm famous.
People like me. How many viewers you got on YouTube?
Participate in this one-of-a-kind.
What was that? How many viewers? We're up to 14. 14 people like you, Dave.
Wow.
Technically 13 because one of those is probably my dad.
That's a high number. Oh, you got
We're 12 now. What they know is they got this bald, sexy tomorrow.
Video.
They got this sexy bald sound man in the foreground now. They're like, damn, this guy Rick lost weight. I'm gonna watch this show to support him on his journey. Right?
Put a title slide on it, which I've already made up.
He went from 3 gun to 2 gun. I don't like when grown men whisper in the company of other grown men.
That's why I didn't want to tell you until after the show. I think he's mad though.
Well, you might as well turn it off because it's not doing me any good then. How much? Perfect. Turn it off. Okay, so much for that.
What? The big camera?
Yeah.
What?
Is the card full?
No, you got to turn it on.
Oh.
So the big experiment.
Minor detail.
The big experiment for tonight just failed.
We'll experiment next week.
Okay. Well,
but you're saying in theory though you want to replace it.
Right, I want to have a higher quality. Okay, you're good to go.
David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. And we're actually tight on time, so here it goes.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Illinois State Rifle Association is an officially recognized local qualifying location for American Marksman, a new shooting competition show by Outdoor Sportsman Group. Amateur target shooters from the area will have the chance to qualify to earn bids to the Great Lakes Regional Championship and ultimately for the American Marksman National Championship, where they will compete for a grand prize of $50,000 and the title of the very first American Marksman. To participate, register at ammarksman.com. Competitors will come to the ISRA range on Saturday and Sunday mornings from 8 a.m. until noon during March, April, and May of 2016, where they will be taken through the local qualifying course of fire. You are cordially invited to join Senator Ted Cruz at the Northwest Suburban Lincoln Day Dinner on Friday, March 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the Meadows Club in Rolling Meadows. Tickets are $120 per person and can be reserved in advance at rowtgop.org/Lincoln-Day-Dinner. I put the link on Facebook earlier today. If you own an AK, SKS, or Mosin Nagant rifle, there are still openings for the March 12th AK, SKS, and Mosin Nagant maintenance class at the ISRA range in Bondfield. The class is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and costs $30 for ISRA members or $60 for non-members. Bring your rifle, cleaning equipment, cleaning mat, and FOID card. To sign up, send an email to mary@isra.org or call 815-635-3198. I put that on Facebook today, too. Don't forget, Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day is April 6th this year. The bus reservation page has been posted on the ISRA website, isra.org. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Sunday, April 10th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, April 16th and 17th, May 7th and 8th, and May 14th and 15th. Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Sunday, April 17th, Concealed Carry Live Fire 1 and 2, taught by Eric. Also, Sunday, April 17th, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
I think he inhaled his water. Did you inhale your water? Is that what that was all about? Explosive detonation over here? Augie, if somebody wants to donate $150,000 to your campaign, or they want to knock on doors or whatever, how do they get a hold of you?
DEUSER.us. And I want to thank all our veterans. And I believe that we should have a vets card for all our vets that they can go to any facility in the United States and get the care they need. A lot of people give the vets lip service, but God bless them.
I agree completely. I'm a vet. We do have a segment 6 tonight. Do we know what it is? I do. That's fine. We're going to be, Augie is going to be talking.
He just finished
tonight.
not dying. So.
That's right. I lost control somewhere. I don't know where. We're going to do segment 6 about veterans tonight. So stay tuned. We're set up and we should get that up and running really, really quickly. And we would like to thank Augie for coming in tonight and wish him best of luck in the primary. And we'd like to thank you for listening to On Target Radio. Be sure to listen next week when Gretchen and I will be discussing more red meat issues that affect your life.
We'd also like to thank George Hoffman on the board, Jim Ekstrand, our announcers, and our sponsors, Nick Stella, August Deuser, Ed Ronkowski, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
It's been a good show.
I think so.
I like having politicians on. It heats the room up a little bit.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
All right. We'll be back next week, and we thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Michael, for making this happen.
Running a business is tough these days. From a president who claimed it
You didn't build that.